In May of this year, the U.S. Surgeon General released a report titled Our Epidemic of Loneliness and Isolation. The report issued a warning and a call to action. The report warns us that the twin diseases of loneliness and social isolation pose an existential threat to our individual and national health. The report warns us that a society lacking in meaningful social connection will come apart at the seams, that we will feel it in our civic life, in our workplaces, in our schools, that we will continue to splinter and divide, until we can no longer stand together as a community or as a country. So how do we make a difference in the face of such a challenge? If this fraying social fabric is a disease, what then is the antidote? The answer, the report says, lies in the great untapped healing resource that is hiding in plain sight, our connections to and relationships with each other. You felt it, didn't you, just now, when we asked you to share that moment of joy with each other? That's right, no less than the Surgeon General of the United States is calling on us to build a movement of loving human connection. So if anybody here tonight knows the Surgeon General, please tell him that the Western Justice Center is on the job. In the last 3 years alone, we have mobilized more than 2,000 students and educators to drive transformative change in their schools. We have trained them as peer mediators and restorative justice facilitators that have become human connectors, relationship builders, healers. Empowered and supported by the Western Justice Center, these 2,000 students and educators have then turned around and used their conflict resolution skills to engage another 4,000 students and educators. And together we have set an extremely ambitious goal to positively affect the learning environment in more than 30 school communities with a collective population of 25,000 people. Yeah, thank you. Imagine it, an ever-expanding community of people empowered with the tools of conflict resolution, human connection, and restorative healing, spreading out in ever-widening circles of impact. One of the students you'll be hearing from tonight calls this a love revolution. A love revolution. I really like the sound of that. But you're like, okay, Elissa, what in the world does a love revolution actually look like? I mean, how does it work, practically speaking? Well, I'll give you an example. Let's start about 10 years ago with a city in the East San Gabriel Valley. Gang rivalry was so intense there was so much targeting of different racial and ethnic groups that the city had earned itself a nickname, the hate crimes capital of Southern California. Let's imagine that educators in the city faced a student population struggling with multiple forms of trauma and layers of generational pain. But we were in the zero tolerance era, so any misstep or misbehavior by a student, even if those actions were really a cry for help or an expression of pain, was met with punishment, isolation, exclusion. Now, let's say those educators realized the tools that they had were not working. They began to add mental health resources, reduce suspensions and expulsions, confront bullying, but it wasn't quite enough. Students still felt disconnected, alone, anxious, depressed. And then a community partner came along and said, hi, we're the Western Justice Center, and we've got this amazing toolbox full of very useful things and would really like to share them with you. We can teach the students about emotional self-awareness and emotional self-management, active and empathetic listening, collaborative problem solving. We can teach them how to de-escalate conflict, how to negotiate and resolve disputes. And we can work with the administrators and educators and parents on those same skills. And we can even help you set up whole systems designed to deliver this curriculum and create programs around it so that you can carry on this work in the long term independently. And we call everything in this toolbox conflict resolution education. But here's the catch. It's just a toolbox. It doesn't have any power on its own. Its true power lies in what tools you as a community member decide to take out and use. how you use those tools, if you use them for long enough, and if you build systems to sustain their use. See, we may be experts in conflict resolution education, and of course we'll be here to support you every step of the way, but you are experts in your community. And together, if we are bold enough, if we create a shared vision and pursue that vision unwaveringly, we can make a real, tangible difference in young people's lives. And here's the best part. We're gonna put the young people in charge, and we're gonna ask them to tell us what they need. We are going to put the students in the driver's seat. And that, my friends, is the story of the partnership between our friends at Azusa Unified School District and the Western Justice Center. What started with one pilot school in 2019 and continued against all the odds during the pandemic now encompasses all 11 schools in the district, kindergarten through 12th grade. This partnership is changing how we do education in Azusa. We've got peer mediation programs at the middle school and high school. We've even got community building circles happening with all levels of staff and students every month. And we've got an incredible student union that you're going to hear more about in just a minute. But wait, there's more. Until this spring, the Western Justice Center's only district-wide partnership was with Azusa, but no longer. This fall, we launched 2 new big multi-school partnerships. A district-wide partnership with Pasadena Unified that will grow to include all 23 schools in the district. Our partnership with Azusa is a 7-year partnership. The partnership with Pasadena is at start a 5-year partnership, plus a county-wide initiative starting with 8 secondary schools in communities from Inglewood to Norwalk-La Mirada, Lawndale to Lakewood, Granada Hills to Hacienda Heights, La Puente. That is 3 massive multi-school projects, all focused on creating long-term sustainable change through conflict resolution education. And to our knowledge, it is one of the only scaled efforts of its kind in the entire state of California. So that's why we're really grateful to have your support and really grateful to have you here tonight, because that is a lot of schools. And we are a small but mighty team that really needs to grow in order to meet the increased demand for our work. We want to be in even more schools and even more school districts, and we want to be out there empowering even more students.